You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 196.1, our daily update on high school, college, and professional sports news in Central Indiana, with a little bit of major national sports news when it happens, anything that's of interest to Central Indiana sports fans.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. We appreciate it so much. Today is March 6, 2025. It's a Thursday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. It's also my nephew Elijah's birthday. Happy birthday, Elijah. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. I am coming to you today from Madison Grant High School. Producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in beautiful Jeffersonville, Indiana. Coming up, we have Wednesday's boys basketball results and all of Friday's local matchups in the sectional semifinals. Plus, the Big Ten women's tournament began on Wednesday, and Ball State was playing for an outright MAC championship against Buffalo. But before we get to that, I'm going to beg you to please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report. It is easy to find. And before we get to all of the scores, Rob Hunt of the Herald Bulletin reported Wednesday that the Madison County tournaments in team sports, basketball, volleyball, baseball, and softball will no longer be after this spring. The baseball and softball tournaments will continue this spring, but they will be discontinued afterwards. The Madison County tournaments in cross country, tennis, track, golf, wrestling, and track and field will continue. To Wednesday's sectional quarterfinal scores, we start in Class A at Clinton Central, where Rossville beat Bethesda Christian 53-43. Braden Teal Hahn scored 16 of his 19 points in the second half. Jordan Sides scored 14, and Lucas Saylor had 10. Cooper Dunn finished with 5 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. And then in the big one of the night, it was number 3 Clinton Prairie 60, number 8 Carroll 40. Clinton Prairie is now 21-2. Carroll season ends at 18-5. The Hornets scored the first 23 points of the second half after leading 28-20 at the half. The Gophers are a serious state championship contender. Jake McGraw had 20 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals for the Gophers. At Southwood, Daleville ended Tri-Central season 76-62. Daleville is now 7-15. Tri-Central season ends at 9-14. Daleville trailed 16-11 at the end of the first, but then outscored Tri-Central 63-46 the rest of the way. Hunter Sakina continues to play very good basketball. He finished with 21 points. Josh Wilson had 17, Bryson Sigler 13, and Noah Colvin 10 for the Broncos. For Tri-Central, junior big man J. Jankoviak had 27 points and 8 rebounds. Drake Ramsier finished with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Logan Yount, 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, and Izzy Fowler also scored 7 points. In the second quarterfinal, actually the third of the tournament, the second of the night, Westdale beat Southern Wells 71-39 for its 10th win of the season. Josiah Love scored 28 points for the Warriors. Gabriel Becerra was 3 for 4 from three-point range and finished with 16. And our final local sectional in Class A, it was International 68-50 over Purdue Broad Ripple. Michael Kuntz, Peter Machado, and Evan Johnson scored 16 points apiece for International. And then Anderson Prep got its first postseason win in program history with an 83-25 win over Indiana Def. It's the 19th win of the season for the Jets, who came into the season with a program record 6 wins. In fact, they've won 8 games in a row. Big Z, Zamarion Bryant, scored 20 of his game-high 25 points in the first 16 minutes. Lincoln Fathauer finished with 17. The Jets held the Orioles to just 3 two-point field goals in the win. And in Class 3A at Logansport, Western season came to an end with a 61-45 loss to 19-5 Maconaquah. Western led 18-16 after one, but Maconaquah outscored the Panthers 17-6 in the second to take control and 19-10 in the fourth quarter to pull away. Josiah Ball finished with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Devin Murray, 18 points and 5 rebounds. AJ Kelly, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. And Fuddy Kyle had 7 points and 9 rebounds. For Western, Carter Biggs led the way with 15 points. Bryson Rucker had 12 points and 5 rebounds. And Hudson Biggs had 10 points and 8 boards. And in the second game, pretty big upset. Northwestern is now 13-10 after beating defending sectional champion West Lafayette 49-46. Some scores of interest from around the state will start in Class 3A. Number 2, South Bend St. Joseph beat South Bend Washington 85-69 at Plymouth. Number 7, Blackhawk Christian beat Fort Wayne Concordia 62-33 at Garrett. Drake Sefton scored 24 points for the Braves. Number 5, Garin Catholic beat Lebanon, a really good team, 73-61. And Roncalli upset Shelbyville at Shelbyville 69-54. And in Class A, number 7, Couts beat Marquette Catholic 54-45. And Central Catholic advanced with a 45-27 win over Fountain Central at North Vermilion. So 63 of the 64 sectional semifinals are set. One game was postponed for a reason I have no idea. So let's take a look at the sectionals at Kokomo, Muncie Central, Logansport, Belmont, Newcastle, Frankton, Blackford, Wabash, Southwood, Clinton Central, and Broad Ripple. We start in Class 4A at Kokomo, where it's Jeff against Harrison in the sectional opener at 6, followed by Kokomo versus McCutcheon. Should be 3 really good games in that sectional. Class 4A at Muncie Central, it's number 5 Anderson against number 16 Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon was one of the 2 teams to beat Anderson in the regular season. Then it's second-ranked Greenfield Central against the host Bearcats. In 3A at Belmont, Marion Heritage follows New Haven Norwell. At Logansport, Peru will face Logansport in the opener. Then the big one, Northwestern takes on Maconaquah in a game most people will see as, let's just say whoever wins that game will be the serious favorite in the championship. And 3A at Delta, it's rivals Delta versus Yorktown, followed by Connorsville versus the host Trojans. In 2A, where I will be at Frankton, it's 17-6 Tipton against 16-5 Sheridan. Then 18-5 Lapel against 16-8 Frankton. 4 really good teams that left in that one. In fact, Lapel and Frankton have both won 12 games in a row. At Blackford, it's top-ranked Wapahani, the Mid-Eastern Conference champion, against 14-9 Blackford, the CIC champion. Before 11-12, Madison Grant takes on 7-16 Alexandria. Those 2 schools are about 10 minutes apart. And 2A at Wabash, number 4 Manchester will be a huge favorite against Rochester, and Oak Hill will be a huge favorite against Cass. And at Purdue, Broad Ripple, Liberty Christian, and Anderson Prep hope to make it an all-Anderson final. Liberty takes on Tinley in the opener, followed by Anderson Prep versus International. Unless there's an upset, it'll be a rematch between the Jets and the Lions. And at Southwood, it'll be Cowan versus Northfield in Game 1, Daleville versus Westdale in Game 2. That is a wide-open sectional that any of those teams could win. We expect to have our boys basketball semifinal preview sometime early Friday morning, probably at 5 a.m. The Big Ten women's basketball tournament in Indianapolis got underway Wednesday. Washington beat Minnesota 79-65. Nebraska whipped Rutgers 84-60. And Iowa blew past Wisconsin 81-54. So Thursday at the Fieldhouse, it'll be 18-11 Indiana against 19-10 Oregon. We hope to have Michelle Garman's reaction following the game, but that is up in the air. Then it's 20-9 Michigan against 19-12 Washington. At 6:30, it's Kendall Bostic and the 21-8 Illinois Illini against the 20-10 Nebraska Huskers. And the last quarterfinal of the night at the Fieldhouse is 21-9 Iowa against 21-8 and 24th ranked Michigan State. Ball State clinched the MAC outright with a 72-60 home win over Buffalo Wednesday at Worthen Arena. The 23-7 Cardinals overcame an early 22-16 deficit by outscoring the Bulls 27-13 in the third quarter. Alex Richard led Ball State with 20 points, and Marie Kiefer finished with 19 points and 13 rebounds. 23-6 Buffalo was led by 17 points from Jordan Beatty. St. John Fisher scored 3 runs in the 6th and 2 in the 7th to beat Anderson 8-5 in Citrus Ridge, Florida on Wednesday. John Dorsch was 3 for 5 with a home run, and Griffin Wolf was 3 for 4 and scored twice for 5 and for Anderson. The Ravens have a week off before their home opener, a doubleheader against Knox next Wednesday. Also, Ball State's football schedule was released Tuesday. The spring showcase is scheduled for April 12th. Then they start their season at Purdue on August 30th and at Auburn on September 6th. Their other non-conference games are September 13th against New Hampshire. That is their home opener. And then they're at Connecticut on September 20th. The Cardinals open MAC play on October 4th against defending MAC champion Ohio. Check out Cade Hampton's coverage in the Star Press for Ball State football news. Also, St. Mary of the Woods won the Men's River States Conference over IU Southeast, and Grace's Ian Scott was named Crossroads Player of the Year. News from last week that I forgot to get to, Tri-Central's Jimmy Rincon announced that he will continue his football career at Manchester. Thursday's highlights, the Pacers are in Atlanta for back-to-back games with the Hawks. The Pacers are 35-25, tied for fourth in the East with Milwaukee. Indiana has won 6 of its last 8. Atlanta is 28-34, 10th in the East. They've lost 6 of their last 8. Ben Mathurin and Tyrese Halliburton are questionable. Both Thursdays and Saturdays games are scheduled for 7:30 in Atlanta. Also, Indiana Wesleyan has a split doubleheader. The Wildcats are 5-1 and have won 4 straight. They play at 12:15 Thursday against 3-9 Calumet, and then at 2:30 against 6-6 Olivet Nazarene. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana sports. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget that the Daily Report airs every single day at 1 o'clock. Well, at least on weekdays. Sometimes on weekends, I'm a little lazy and get it out a little later. And if you want to do something to support the Central Indiana Sports Report and make sure that we continue to thrive, please do us a favor and share the podcast with your friends. Thank you. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.